Hello again, welcome back to the Penny University. This is David, and I just wanted to show you some raw footage of Clive Bundy and the feds and the BLM surrendering the cattle back to the Bundy Ranch, and have a little bit of a discussion about that. So take a look at this video clip.
The crowd is now moving forward toward the barrier. The police have been telling everybody they are going to shoot if we don't move back. People are moving forward with their hands in the air, holding flags with both hands in the air. It's a mixture of people on foot, as you can see, people on foot, and cowboys. With Metro, all right, push these people back up off the gate. Push them back up off the gate. We're going to work to release these cattle. Listen to me. I'm going to work with you. I'm going to work with you, but I need you to back up. I understand. But what you're doing, you will get that time. That's all right. You're not playing. I know, I get that. Can we push them back up on the gate right now? Let me work with you. I'll allow you two to come in with me. You come and get arrested. You're not getting arrested. I got my word, but no one's taking you arrested. If you want to stay there, that's great. Defend your dad. Let's go. Defend your dad at the top. We'll make sure that your dad's going to need some help if they decide that they're going to pull those pins. But it's only going to be Bundy and his son.
No,
it's
the people or not. And you guys need to leave. Okay. You need to leave. That's
I'm telling you, you need to de-escalate the situation.
No,
I'm imploring upon you responsibility to de-escalate. Listen, you are on the back. And there's time again. No, there's a time now. We're doing that. No, but you need to push these people back so they can do the same thing. Push them back so they can do the same thing. You respect your authorities, County. Well, put down the one. I keep ending up on the church. Go back to Washington. Go back to China. Yeah, don't turn your back on us, just big boys, those big guns on you. Oh, you're so tough, you're so brave. Look at that. What a bunch of bullies. You got to throw it back up top.
Okay, now there's something that you will not see in the mainstream media, and that's really the problem, isn't it? The mainstream media is fed something, usually from a government source, and they just regurgitate it. They feed it right back to the American people, and the American people don't know any better because they just don't, because they've become so accustomed to the mainstream media, which doesn't always tell you the whole truth, and that's called equivocation. Just enough of the truth to get by, but not the whole thing. If it wasn't for social media, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, nobody would know what's really going on in Nevada. Nobody would know what it really looks like. Now, the Bureau of Land Management, their official story is that to avoid danger to the public, they went ahead and surrendered the cattle. They make it sound like they're being gracious. They weren't being gracious. They really were stuck with the alternative of there being a massacre. There were hundreds of people. Many of them were armed. They were armed officers, armed to the teeth officers. They were threatening to shoot into the crowd. It would have been a massacre. The ranchers and the civilians, they would have lost, quite frankly. Heavily armed and armored and well-trained federal officers versus rabble-rousers, basically. It would have been a bloodbath. But how would the Bureau of Land Management and the feds explain this? There would be no way. They had to back down. I love how that one officer tried to pull the okey doke on Clive Bundy and his boys though when they were at the gate, and he was like, "No, no, just you and you are coming through." And he was like, we're all coming through, and you're getting out of here. You're leaving." If they had gone through, they would have been arrested, and then it would have been over because then you've got effectively a hostage situation. The police have them on that side. What are you going to do? So it was smart that they didn't go for that. The BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, has also been putting into the news that Clive owes over $1 million, and which also isn't true. The according to the state of Nevada, if he did owe, it would be around 300,000. But he has a good reason for having not paid this to the Bureau of Land Management. A couple of good reasons actually, and this is outside of the tortoise thing. The tortoise issue, endangered desert tortoise issue, was just the excuse they used to get the snowball going. What it really boils down to is that his family's been there since the 1870s working that land. That's their land. Then one day the Bureau of Land Management comes along and says, "Your land isn't yours anymore. It's ours. We're going to run it and you're going to pay us to do it." This is what they've done to all these ranchers. When they talk about, 16,000 other ranchers pay these fees, that's really what they mean. They came along and said, "Your land isn't yours anymore. It's ours. And you're going to pay us." It's kind of like, it's really kind of a form of government extortion. It's like if the mafia came into your restaurant and said, "Hey, you work for us now. We're going to take care of things. You're going to pay us X amount of money every month." That's what happened. The government did this to this man, and he was paying it. But the whole purpose of them being land management is that they were supposed to take care of the land for this fee. This money went directly back into maintaining the land and property, which they never did. Clive was like, if I've got to go back out there and dig and irrigate and replace and repair bridges and do all this other work on the land, and the Bureau of Land Management is nowhere to be seen ever, why am I paying? It's a good question. Why am I paying for my own land and these guys don't even do what they said they were going to do? I am not mad at him, and I wish I would see more ranchers doing this. Now, the way that this is portrayed in the mainstream media, like I said, if you go and find this story on the Huffington Post, you'll see a very jaded version of the whole thing, and you'll see a whole blog full of people like, "Oh, the man's a criminal," and another person gets away with snubbing the government, and they make him out to be the bad guy, and he's not. He's not. These people are so jaded by the media, and are so used to not having freedoms that they don't know what freedom is. Those people in Nevada figured it out and stood together and stood up to a tyranny. And we really need more of that in this country, or we're going to lose it completely. We've already lost so much of it already. So stick together, America, and keep up the good work.